Live below your means is the most repeated piece of financial advice in America. It is also quietly keeping most of the people who follow it average forever. I want to tell you about Tanya, 36 years old, earns $62,000 a year. For the last 4 years, she has done everything the financial advice world told her to do. She tracks every dollar. She cut the subscriptions. She meal preps instead of eating out. She lives genuinely below her means. Her savings rate is about 9% of her income. She is proud of her discipline, and her net worth has barely moved in 4 years. Not because Tanya did anything wrong, because the advice she was following was only half a sentence, and nobody gave her the other half. Today, I'm going to give you the full sentence. And by the end of this video, the way you think about building wealth is going to shift, not just from a mindset perspective, but in a way that has a specific calculable dollar value attached to it. Hit subscribe and give this a thumbs up if it helps. Let's get into it. Let me tell you what live below your means actually does when followed without a second instruction attached to it. It creates disciplined savers, not wealth builders. And those are two completely different things. Tanya's 9% savings rate produces about $465 a month in saved income. That money sits in a savings account earning roughly 4% interest. She feels responsible. She is responsible. But responsible and wealthy are not the same destination, and live below your means. Without the second instruction sends you to the first one while making you think you're heading to the second. Here is the number that shows you exactly what I mean. Tanya's $465 per month in a savings account at 4% over 20 years, $171,000. Tanya's $465 per month invested in a broad index fund at 7% average annual return over 20 years, $242,000. Same discipline, same amount, same 20 years. The difference, $71,000 for a seat from one missing instruction. The Federal Reserve's 2023 data shows the median American savings account balance is $8,000. The median American net worth at retirement is $87,000, a fraction of what consistent investing produces from the exact same income. Saving money without deploying it is not a financial strategy. It is financial waiting, and waiting has a price. Most people never calculate. Now, you might be thinking, but saving is better than spending. At least I'm not going into debt. 100% saving beats spending, but the advice stops exactly where it needs to start. The discipline is right. The destination is wrong. You don't build wealth by spending less. You build wealth by deploying the difference between what you earn and what you spend into assets that compound. Living below your means is step one. Investing the gap is the step that actually builds wealth. Most people were only ever taught step one. But here is where I want to go deeper. Because the problem with live below your means is not just what it misses, it is what it focuses on. The word means in that phrase refers to your income, your current income. The advice, at its core, tells you to shrink your life to fit your current earning, cut expenses, reduce lifestyle, spend less than you make, all of which centers your entire financial strategy around a number that someone else decided to pay you. Tanya spent 4 years obsessing over the expense side of her financial equation. She knows her monthly spending to the dollar. She has optimized every category. She squeezed every subscription. And in doing so, she has been treating her income, $62,000 a year, as a fixed, unchangeable fact of her financial life. The ceiling she works within, rather than a floor she builds above. Here is the math that shows why this matters so much. If Tanya cuts $200 more per month from her already lean budget, the maximum realistically possible, she gains $2,400 in extra annual savings. If Tanya negotiates a $10,000 salary increase and invests the after-tax difference, she gains approximately $6,500 in extra annual investment. The income conversation is worth 2.7 times the expense conversation. Yet, live below your means puts 100% of the focus on expenses and 0% on expanding the means. You cannot cut your way to wealth. You can only build your way there. Cutting creates the runway. Income growth is the engine. You need both. Now you might be thinking, not everyone can just go get a raise. That's easier said than done. That is fair, and I'm not saying it's easy, I'm saying it's more valuable than the expense obsession that most financial advice defaults to. A negotiated salary increase, a developed skill that commands higher pay, a side income stream, any of these moves the needle faster than cutting another subscription. The expense conversation has a floor. The income conversation has no ceiling. So what is the full sentence? What does the complete version of this advice actually look like? Here it is. Write this down. The incomplete version, what most people were taught: live below your means. Focus, spending less. Outcome, disciplined saver, average wealth. The complete version, what actually builds wealth. Expand your means, invest the gap, and live on the rest. Focus, income growth plus deployment. Outcome, compounding wealth. That is the complete financial sentence. 3 parts working together. Expanding means actively growing income through raises, skills, or side income. Investing the gap. Every dollar between what you earn and what you spend goes into assets, not savings accounts. Living on the rest, not the minimum possible, but a genuinely sustainable, intentional lifestyle funded by what remains after the future is paid first. Tanya had part 3. She just never had part 1 or part 2. When Tanya saw the full sentence, not just live below your means, but the complete 3-part version, she did 3 things in the following 30 days. She requested a salary review at work, came prepared with market data showing her role typically pays $8,000 to $12,000 more than her current salary, and walked out with a $6,000 increase. She opened a Roth IRA and automated $400 a month into a broad index fund, ending the habit of letting savings sit idle in a low-yield account. And she started one freelance project in her industry that added $400 a month, which went directly to investments. 18 months later, previous path, savings account only, $171,000 over 20 years. New path, expanded means, invested gap, $497,000 over 20 years. Same discipline, completely different instruction, $326,000 difference. Here is your 3-part action plan, 1 step from each part starting this week. Part 1. Expand your means. Research what your role actually pays in today's market. Use Glassdoor, LinkedIn Salary, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you are underpaid, schedule a salary conversation this month. If a raise isn't possible right now, identify 1 skill that commands higher pay in your field and spend 30 minutes a day developing it. Part 2, invest the gap. Every dollar sitting in a savings account beyond your 3-month emergency fund is losing to inflation right now. Open a Roth IRA or taxable brokerage account today if you don't have one. Choose one index fund. Automate a monthly contribution. Deploy the gap. Don't just protect it. Part 3, live on the rest intentionally. Keep the expense discipline as it is genuinely valuable, but reframe it. You are not cutting because money is scarce. You are intentional because your future comes first. That shift changes the relationship with spending from deprivation to purpose. Live below your means is not bad advice. It is incomplete advice, and incomplete advice followed faithfully for years produces average results for disciplined people who deserved far better. The people building real wealth are not more disciplined than Tanya. They are not luckier. They just received the full sentence. They know that cutting spending is the floor, not the ceiling of a wealth-building strategy. They expand the means, deploy the gap, and live intentionally on the rest. You have the full sentence now, all 3 parts. The only question is which part you implement first, and whether you do it this week or file it away as something you'll get to eventually. Eventually is where good financial intentions go to die. This week is where wealth actually starts. Drop 1 word in the comments right now: means, gap, or rest. Whichever of the 3 parts you're starting with this week, that's it. 1 word. It tells me exactly where this community is focused, and I will build future content around those answers. If this reframe shifted something for you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this reach people who have been following the incomplete version of this advice for years without knowing it. Subscribe for a new video every week. Real financial strategy. The complete version, always. I'll see you in the next one. Expand the means, invest the gap, live on the rest.